My husband's about to find out the consequences of his actions. For the next 4 years, there's going to be no more sex. I've decided not to divorce you, but you're going to be doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, and all the dishes for 4 years.
What's new?
Hey, these are the consequences of voting for Trump.
You voted for Trump too.
Okay, I'm going to say this story real quick before my husband and my son actually come back from the gym. My son has taken up boxing, and boy, he be smelling ferocious. So I'm trying to save my nose hairs. Anyway, we all have been on this app, and we have seen women leaving their husbands and their boyfriends that they have for a very long time because they voted for the orange orangutan, right? They voted for Trump, and they said it's about morals, right? You didn't care about my rights, and you went and voted for this man. And we have seen it to the point that they are refusing to date any kind of man that presents kind of MAGA-ish. If a man tells you I'm really not into politics, or they haven't voted at all, or and they say they always vote Republicans, those are the people they are running away from. But today I heard a story about a man who was in a long-time marriage with his wife, a Puerto Rican woman, and we are hard to leave, guys. We are hard to leave. He left his wife. First of all, he noticed that there was a problem within this marriage because all of a sudden she became very religious, very hallelujah. And then, probably through the church, she became MAGA. And it became so difficult to live with her that he couldn't take it anymore. Especially him as a person of color was like, I don't get it. You're Puerto Rican, I'm black. What is going on here? So, yeah, I gotta say, men are going through this as well. And I have seen a couple of the videos, but I need to see more. So if you are a man who decided not to date somebody who was like very, very Christian, MAGA-ish, let me know. I want to hear those stories. I don't think we got enough of those. You guys have a blessed day.
This is what we're missing in this conversation. Men are going through this too. We've been so focused on women leaving that we forgot. Guys are watching their partners slide into extremism and feeling trapped. Imagine being a black man, watching your Puerto Rican wife go full MAGA through church. The cognitive dissonance must be crushing. You're Puerto Rican, I'm black. What is going on here? That question hits hard because this isn't about tax policy. It's about watching your partner support an ideology that actively harms communities that look like yours, that look like hers. And here's the reality. When someone's politics mean they're voting against their own interests, their own community, their own family, that's not politics anymore. That's a fundamental shift in who they are. So to any man dealing with this, you're not alone. And walking away isn't weakness, it's clarity.
This might make you angry, but marrying someone with different politics is a ticking time bomb. I'm Dr. John DeBach, a relationship coach who's worked with thousands of couples, and love doesn't override core values. If you see the world one way and your partner sees it the opposite, that difference will show up in how you raise your kids, spend money, argue, and even define right and wrong. At first, it feels exciting. We challenge each other, but over time, it becomes resentment. One of you starts hiding opinions just to keep the peace. That's not connection, that's survival. If your core values don't align, your future won't either, and no amount of agreeing to disagree will protect your relationship when things get real. If you think I'm wrong, that's fine. Go ahead, argue with me in the comments. The truth doesn't flinch, though. Follow for more hard-hitting relationship truths.
Listen, you're allowed to have different opinions as your spouse about certain things. For example, me and my husband don't have the same favorite football team. We don't have the same favorite snack, etc., etc. But when it comes to politics, now is not the time to have different opinions, especially with what's going down in the States. I recently talked about how the winner of America's Got Talent is MAGA, and people are saying, no, it's not, she's not, blah, blah, blah. But her husband is. You look at her husband's followers, the current president is there, Turning Point USA, Latinos for the current president was what shocked me. And for anyone saying, oh, she endorsed Biden, she endorsed Clinton, I did not hear her endorse Harris during this election. So that, to me, she's automatically MAGA.
Get ready with me as I prepare to divorce my husband of 45 years. We met in high school, but, after a while, people change. We've had a lot.
This satire is perfect because it exposes the cult-like devotion, 45 years of marriage, destroyed because he won't salute a politician. She's talking about getting a neck tattoo, alienating her own children, throwing away half a century, all for someone who doesn't even know she exists. That's not loyalty, that's fanaticism. And the scariest part, she genuinely believes she's the victim here, that he's the one who changed, who betrayed their values, who destroyed the marriage. The lack of self-awareness is stunning.
Fights lately, and kind of my straw was that he's not going to go to Trump's military parade. He's actually going to go and protest him. He's clearly not the man I thought he was. And it's just really hard because I thought he was my forever. And it turns out he's not. I'm going to tell the children all that. I don't know. A lot of the children are on his side, I fear. It breaks my heart in a whole different way. I thought I'd raise them to be better people than that. I don't know. Apparently not. I actually think I might go and get like a neck tattoo, like a Trump neck tattoo, which I'm really excited about. I've heard people say old skin doesn't tattoo well. I'm tough. I mean, I've lived with him for 45 years. I will update you how it goes. This is the final fit. He's gonna weep.
What if a huge struggle in your relationship is big political or belief differences? And today I'm gonna be working with a couple for a few hours, specifically on the conflicts that they're having around different political beliefs and how that feeds into also different religious beliefs and how to translate that information to their children. This did not, I've been doing this 25 years, this did not used to be something that came into my office, but in the last 8 years, it is really prevalent. Some days, that's most of what I talk about with couples is political debates. So this couple is actually on the same side of the spectrum politically, but they differentiate on different issues, different particular issues. Especially how to communicate some of these issues to their children. This is a big deal. This is breaking up marriages and long-term relationships and family members lately, and it does not need to. I believe it does not need to. So what I am gonna work with this couple on is each of them having a time. So I'm gonna let one person go first and the other person has to be quiet and just listen. The other person is going to ask them questions to try to understand better their beliefs. Questions like, you know, what do you believe about this political issue or this religious issue? How does this relate to your own background, your own experience? What do you see as the problem between the two of us as it comes to this issue? What feelings come up for you? What emotions do you experience around this issue? Does it relate to specifically to your childhood and your past? You know, how did you see this go when you were younger and you were growing up? What are your wishes for this issue? What are your deepest fears for this issue? What's the story you tell yourself about this issue? And as they ask those questions, they just listen. And then at the end of it, they say, kind of overall, this is what I heard. Did I get it? Okay. And then you let the other person speak. And what I find, and you ask the same questions, and what I find is that at the end of this, people are actually more aligned than you would think. Nobody wants children at 9 months of gestation to be killed. You know, nobody wants people to be harmed unnecessarily. So people are generally speaking have more commonality than they think. And after that conversation, they can make some agreements like, you know, we won't watch news in front of the children, or we will, if we have an article of interest, we'll both read it and then we'll talk about it openly. So I hope this helps. This is not worth breaking up a relationship over.
The therapist is doing good work here, but I gotta push back. She says, this isn't worth breaking up over. And look, I respect the bridge building attempt. Communication is crucial. Understanding each other's why matters, but here's where it gets complicated. If your partner's politics mean they support policies that directly harm you, your kids, or entire communities, that's not a difference of opinion. That's a values crisis. You can't just agree to disagree on whether certain people deserve rights, on whether families should be torn apart, on whether women should control their own bodies. Those aren't political issues. They're moral ones. Her process is solid. Ask questions, listen deeply, find common ground. That works for many conflicts, but sometimes the answer isn't compromise. Sometimes it's realizing your partner revealed who they truly are, and you don't like what you see. And that's okay. Walking away from incompatible values isn't failure. It's self-preservation.
I haven't spoken to or seen my dad in like 6 years because of Trump mostly. But it started way earlier than that. In 2009, I went to college, and one of the first things that he said to me was just don't become a liberal, because I was raised, in an evangelical home, extremely conservative, big on GUNs, like all of that. And of course I went to school, and that was like exactly what I did. And, then the 2012 election came around, and I voted for Obama, and that was when we really like started to butt heads. And then the 2016 election happened, and one of my sisters and I got on a conference call with him and literally begged him for hours to change his mind and not vote for Trump. And, we begged him for like 8 years, probably, like starting before the 2020 or the 2012 election, and then continuing through the 2016 election and like 3 years beyond that, just begging him to learn and grow, and he just refused.
6 years. 6 years without speaking to her dad. And the worst part? She tried. For 8 years, she and her sister begged him to learn, to grow, to see beyond his bubble, and he refused. He chose ideology over his daughters. Now she's marrying a woman, and she doesn't even know if he knows. That's the cost of political tribalism. You don't just lose arguments, you lose people. Real people. Your own children. And when she checks his Facebook, just typical boomer memes mocking everything she is, everything she loves, everyone she cares about. That's not having different opinions. That's telling your kid, my political identity matters more than you do. To anyone in this position, I'm sorry. You deserved a parent who chose love over ideology, and the family you build will always matter more than the one that rejected you.
And my mom followed suit. One of our other sisters followed suit. And now none of our family really speaks. And sometimes I'm curious, like, if he did change. So I go look at his Facebook, and it's just, like those typical boomer memes that are like super anti-liberal and like anti-progressive. And I'm marrying a woman, I don't even know if they know that. But today, this Supreme Court ruling about the LA racial profiling with immigration just like got to me. It all fucking gets to me, but this got to me because it's like, this is the shit that my family supports and does and believes in. And it's just like, how? Obviously I know that white supremacy is a long-rooted issue, but it's just like, how is this the world? I don't know. I guess I don't have a point, but just how?
People, I get it. It's election time. Everyone's emotions is all over the place. Everyone is nervous. But do not let election time come between you and your family. Do not let election time ruin your marriage. This woman just divorced her husband after being married for 23 years because her husband decided to vote for Donald Trump. People, this couple is from Maryland, and they had a very beautiful marriage. They had 4 daughters together. Now, mind you, this couple had a lot in common. They never really disagreed about anything until Joe Biden dropped out the race. Also, keep in mind, since this couple was married, they always voted the same. They both voted for Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden. But everything changed when Joe Biden dropped out the race. The husband did not like Kamala Harris. One day the family was having dinner and they brought up politics, and the husband told the wife he was thinking about voting for Donald Trump. When the husband said he was thinking about voting for Donald Trump, the wife made a joke and said, "You must don't want this marriage anymore." A week later, the husband sat his wife down and said he's voting for Donald Trump. He do not want to vote for Kamala Harris. He said if Biden was still in the race, he would vote for Joe Biden. He did not like Kamala Harris for some reason. The wife then told her husband he should not vote. He said voting for Donald Trump is voting against women's rights. The husband said that's not true. He loves his family, he loves his 4 daughters, and he support women's rights. He said Donald Trump is just a better option. The wife then started to insult Donald Trump, and then the husband started to insult Kamala Harris. Mind you, this was the first time in their marriage they had a serious fight like this, because they will always vote the same. The wife also accused the husband and said he's watching too much right-wing media. The husband also said the same thing about the wife. He said she's watching too much left-wing media. So one day the husband got home from work and the wife sat the husband down. She was very serious. She said if he vote for Donald Trump, he's voting against women's rights. The husband then told the wife, let's not let politics ruin our marriage, please. The wife then told the husband if he vote for Donald Trump, she will file for divorce, and she meant it. The husband then told her, you don't control me. You don't tell me who to vote for. I vote for whoever I want to. Roughly 2 weeks after that conversation, the wife filed for divorce and she moved out the house. She took the 4 girls. One day the husband came home from work and he got the shock of his life. The house was half empty and no one was there. And the wife wasn't picking up the phone. And it was a note on the kitchen table. The note on the kitchen table said, quote, it took me 20 years to realize I married the wrong man. Voting for Donald Trump is voting against women's rights. She said, I love you, but divorcing you is the right decision for me and my daughters. I understand emotions is very high, but do not let this election come between you and your family.
23 years, 4 daughters, gone, and she gave him every opportunity. She said, don't vote. She explained the stakes. She laid out exactly what was at risk. And what did he say? You don't control me. Brother, you have 4 daughters, 4 women whose futures, whose rights, whose bodily autonomy are directly affected, and you looked at them and said, my political preference matters more. That's not about freedom of choice, and that's about priorities, and he showed his wife exactly where she ranked. Now here's what's telling. He couldn't even explain why he opposed the alternative beyond, I don't like her. No policy reasons, no substantive critique, just vibes, feelings, bias he refused to examine. That's not political disagreement. That's willful ignorance wrapped in stubbornness. So when people say, don't let politics ruin your marriage, sometimes politics reveal your marriage was already broken. They just expose what was hidden underneath.
Hey, can we all collectively decide to
shut the fuck up?
we're talking about politics? Like, if you're a cool person,
I don't give a damn if you voted for Kamala or Trump.
I don't care. If you're nice, a good person, and don't act weird and shove your politics down my throat, then I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Can we stop, trying to,
put death threats
on people that just vote for someone else or ruin relationships over that?
No!
I have friends that voted for Trump and Kamala, and we're chill. We don't want to kill each other, and we don't go, oh, you're weird. Can we just shut the fuck up? It's not that deep. The world is not gonna end. You can maintain a relationship with someone and a friendship with someone without the same, just listen and respect each other. It's really not that deep. It's really not that deep. Can we just calm down, please? Please?
It's not that deep. Can't we all just get along? I get the impulse. I really do. In a perfect world where politics were just about highways and tax brackets, sure, absolutely. But we're not in that world. For you, maybe it's not that deep. But for LGBTQ plus folks watching their rights get dismantled, for immigrants facing deportation, for women losing bodily autonomy, for people of color dealing with emboldened racism, it is that deep. It's their lives. You can maintain friendships across political lines when both sides respect human dignity and operate in good faith. But when one side denies fundamental rights to entire groups of people, that's not just politics, that's a values conflict. So yeah, chill bro energy is nice, but peace without justice isn't peace. It's just privilege talking.
Absolutely insane story, and it ties into a lot of stories that we've been hearing from Trump supporters. I mean, I talked about this story a few days ago, but let me introduce you to George Fusco, who said 2 years ago, quote, the Republicans will not ever be able to do away with Social Security or Medicare because they are programs which we paid for. And I believe that some Republicans in the Congress and Senate would vote to maintain both programs. If that is an issue in the future, I would vote Democrat. Now, a lot of people are personally affected. Steve Bannon said it the best, honestly. I never thought I'd say that. But Steve Bannon said, it is not just blue voters who use Medicare and Medicaid. A lot of red voters depend on both Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, a lot of people in red states. So then George Fusco says, 2 years ago, or I guess 3 years ago almost, I voted Republican because I'm concerned that our country is a socialist form of government under the Democrats who's trying to force you to lose your rights. Rights guaranteed by the Constitution, blah, blah, blah. This was November 10th, 2022. But now, George Fusco, just yesterday posted, I voted for Trump, but now I have concern for all the cuts he and Elon are making. I have concerns about Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, I'm assuming he meant, but he said Medicare twice. It seems like he's balancing the budget by excluding benefits for the poor and elderly. This isn't what I voted for, and I am extremely upset.
Oh, George, my guy, you voted against socialism, but now you're upset about cuts to Social Security and Medicare, programs you literally paid into your entire working life? You voted for this. They told you. They said it out loud. We're cutting wasteful government spending. And what's wasteful to billionaires who'll never need Social Security? Your retirement, your health care, your safety net. That 82-year-old man who got his identity wiped, his bank account frozen, his Social Security paused because of sloppy data interpretation. That's not a bug. That's the feature. That's what happens when you put unvetted billionaires in charge of systems they don't understand and don't need. Welcome to Consequences, George. Population, you.
And that's true. I covered another story on my channel the other day where an 82-year-old man had his identity wiped. All of the money pulled out of his bank account, his Social Security payments were paused, and his life was essentially nuked because Elon Musk misinterpreted data and thought he was a dead person sucking up Social Security. It is sloppy, reckless, and dangerous. Let's listen to Mehdi Hassan explain what's wrong with Doge. You'll like this clip. Make sure you drop a like and spam some blue hearts if you made it this far in the video as well.
Dan says that this is all normal and we have precedent for it. Dan's being disingenuous. Elon Musk is running a government department. He is not vetted. He has not gone through Senate confirmation hearings like cabinet officials and ambassadors. George Soros has never led any kind of government department. If he did, Republican heads would explode.
Yep, Mehdi Hassan is responding to Dan Crenshaw, by the way. Dan Crenshaw made the claim that it's basically just like George Soros.
He's never run anything in government, nor is Alexander Soros. Musk is literally standing next to the president. He is telling cabinet secretaries what to do. He's attending cabinet meetings. They're going to court. Dan's not telling you this, but there's literal court cases going on right now to determine the status of Elon Musk and Doge. And by the way, government lawyers are telling the judges he's not the head of Doge. Donald Trump stood in front of Congress and said he is the head of Doge. Maybe Dan can tell us today if Elon Musk, who hasn't been vetted by Congress, is the head of Doge. What's so sad to see is members of Congress like Dan just completely abdicating their responsibilities.
Abdicating their responsibilities and ceding their power as co-equal branches of government, as Mehdi Hassan is about to say.
Wait. So private citizens can't donate to causes, but unelected billionaires can run government departments without Senate confirmation? Make it make sense. One is a private citizen exercising free speech. The other is literally directing federal policy, firing government workers, dismantling programs, with zero constitutional authority, zero oversight, zero accountability. And the wildest part, the lawyers are in court saying he's not officially in charge, while he's literally attending cabinet meetings and making personnel decisions. So which is it? Either he's running a government agency and needs Senate confirmation, or he's not. In which case, why is he making government decisions? This is textbook oligarchy. Billionaires making decisions that affect your life while facing zero consequences. And some politicians are defending it, completely abandoning their constitutional duty. That's not governance, that's capture.
But he also makes a great point about this slippery, wishy-washy tactic that Trump, Elon, and their lawyers are using. Now, Trump will say repeatedly that Elon Musk is the head of Doge. Elon Musk will say, hey, I'm the head of Doge, I'm the one leading this. But then whenever they're in courts,
I keep seeing people that are talking about breaking up with their Republican boyfriends, and I'm like, yes, queen, yes. But I'm like, you're just now breaking up with your Republican boyfriend? Like, did you just now only find out that he was like a crazy MAGA Trump supporter? Or did y'all just like never talk about these things? I'm just confused, because that's interesting how that entire like political part could just be like left out of your relationship. Like, what are y'all talking about then?
And that's the question that matters most. What are y'all even talking about? Because relationships aren't built on avoiding conflict. They're built on shared values, shared vision, shared understanding of right and wrong. If your partner supports policies that harm you or people you love, what are you building together? You can't compartmentalize your politics when they determine how you raise kids, what rights you believe people deserve, whether you value truth over tribalism. This isn't about being too sensitive. It's about recognizing that core values either align or they don't. And if they don't, that's not failure. That's clarity. So here's the truth. Nobody wants to say out loud, you can't build a future with someone who votes against your future. You can't raise kids with someone whose values contradict everything you believe. You can't maintain intimacy with someone you've lost respect for. And that's what all these stories share. The moment respect died, when the person they loved chose ideology over love. Is it sad? Absolutely. Is it avoidable? Sometimes, but not always. Because at some point you have to ask, what matters more? Keeping the peace or keeping your integrity? To everyone navigating this, whether walking away or being walked away from, this is hard. But sometimes hard is necessary. Sometimes it's survival. Your values matter, your boundaries matter, and sometimes walking away is the strongest choice you can make. Drop a comment. Should people prioritize relationships over politics, or are some values non-negotiable, like share, subscribe? Because this conversation, it's just beginning. This is Mind Mirror. See you next time.